Welcome, everyone, to Midday Meditation. On Friday, getting ready for a beautiful weekend in May. And this week, I've been talking about the subtle energies that appear in the mind that need to be dealt with. Subtle energies need to be recognized by the intellect and then transformed. And the reason is because if we do this, then the vices never enter the level of our behavior. Our behavior is then very good. But if we don't recognize and transform these subtle energies when they appear in our mind, then these energies, these feelings, these subtle feelings influence us to do the wrong thing. And so just imagine if everybody on the planet developed the intellect so that the intellect had the ability to recognize anger or greed or attachment, any vice, just as it was coming at the level of the feelings. Imagine if everybody could do this and deal with it at that subtle level so that they never have to be expressed. Think how wonderful life would be. So I don't know how to spread the word to everyone, but all of us who are here can practice this. And today I'm going to talk about the fifth of the main vices, which is attachment. Attachment is a very subtle vice. It's probably the most subtle of all of the vices because we generally don't know what we're attached to until it's threatened, until either we lose it or we're threatened with losing it. We take things for granted. And then once something is threatened, then we recognize that we were attached to it. A good example is during when COVID came, we probably discovered all kinds of attachments that we didn't know that we had. Attachments to going places, attachments to seeing things, attachments to shopping in a certain way, attachments to being able to meet people socially. And so a lot of people couldn't handle it and they had all kinds of psychological problems. It was because of attachment. Now, all these things are good, meeting people and shopping and etc. These are all good, but the problem is the attachment. And the attachment means I need, usually we're attached to people. I need this person in my life in order for me to be okay. And so if a person who I love very dearly doesn't have time for me or doesn't want to do what I want to do, and I get upset, it's attachment. It's because I'm depending on this person for me to be okay. I've made this person in charge of my well-being. And sometimes, of course, we're attached to things. Everybody's attached to certain foods. And I think we would have discovered this during COVID as well. Or sometimes the doctor puts you on a special diet, says you can't eat this or you can't have coffee. And then we realize how big the attachment is when we can't do that anymore. At a gross level, attachment is not allowing a person to leave my life, even if it's in the best interest of that person to do so. I think anybody who's a parent, there's often comes a time where the child wants to go someplace else, maybe for a job, maybe for an education. And then the parent has to overcome attachment to the child and say, yes, go. You'll always be my child. You will always love me. I will always love you, but go. Sometimes parents can't let go of their children. They don't allow their children to grow up. This is a gross form of attachment. But the subtle form of attachment is constantly waiting for someone to call me. Why isn't this person calling me? I called them and they didn't return my call. This is a subtle form of attachment. So the quality that we use to counter attachment is freedom. because the soul wants to be free. The soul loves freedom, and attachment is a bondage. It's a bondage both for myself and it's a bondage for the person to whom I am attached. It's a bondage for both of us. It keeps us together, but not in a happy relationship. And so if I am attached to someone and I'm trying to get that person to support me and be with me, even when it's not necessary, I'm just doing it out of attachment. I don't need that person all the time, but I have this insecurity that if I let that person go for a week or two, that person will not come back into my life. So if I have this kind of attachment, the other person is going to resent it. And the person is going to move away from me, actually. And then I can get even more clinging. And so it's bondage for myself because I'm not allowing myself to explore and experience all the wonderful things that life is giving to me. I'm stuck thinking about what I don't have. And it's a bondage for the other person because that soul also wants to be free. So if we can cultivate and honor this quality of freedom, which is an intrinsic quality of the soul, practice freedom, then we can be involved in anybody, we can go anywhere, we can do anything without being attached. If we cultivate this quality of freedom. So, this is what we'll practice together today. To begin with, take a few deep, full, easy breaths. Watch the air enter and leave the lungs. We let the air come into the lungs freely, and we let the air leave the lungs freely because we understand that both are in our best interest. The air has to come in and the air has to go out. I'm not going to be attached. I need to breathe, but I won't be attached because the air is plentiful. And as you inhale, fill the body with light. There's an energetic quality to the air. It's a subtle energy that we can't see. But when we inhale, in addition to inhaling air, we're also inhaling that energy. So you can consider that energy to be light. And as you inhale, fill the body with light. And now, as you inhale, fill the mind with light. See your mind as a screen of light. Bring your awareness now to the tiny soul who has a mind, the tiny being of light that you are. I am a peaceful soul who lives in this body. Our greatest attachment, of course, is to the body we live in, which makes sense because we're with this body even before we're born. I live in this body, but I am separate from the body. Someday I and the body will part. And when that happens, I will be very appreciative to the body for having served me so well. I will thank the body profusely. And then, in a state of ecstatic freedom, I will fly away. We can actually have this level of ecstatic freedom towards anything of the material world or any other person, even. We come together, we enjoy each other, we part company, and then we enjoy someone or something else. If we're in solitude, we enjoy solitude. See the screen of your mind, again, a screen of light. There are no attachments on the screen of my mind, no bondages. I, the soul, am completely free. I do have responsibilities, but I don't see them as bondages. I perform my responsibilities because they're the right thing to do. My responsibilities towards myself, towards my body, my family, my community, my workplace. These are all connections that I make for my own well-being. So even my responsibilities are not bondages. I do them joyfully. Another big source of attachment is my ideas, my beliefs, my opinions. And there are many people who are trying to sell us their beliefs and their opinions and their point of view. And so when that happens, it can make us attached to our own point of view. I believe it was the Greek philosopher Aristotle who said, an educated person is one who can consider another point of view without accepting it. Just consider someone who thinks something very different from what I believe. To just be able to consider it. No attachment even to my own beliefs or my own opinions or my own expertise. This is complete freedom. Freedom to consider putting myself in another person's shoes. This is interesting that this person thinks this way. Complete lack of attachment. I am completely free. I can consider your point of view or not if it's not in my best interest. If your point of view seems to be harmful in any way, I don't have to consider it because I'm free, no attachments. Altruistic love for my family, my friends, my communities, altruistic love. Nothing needed in return. I have faith that as I participate in communities, the communities will support me in their own way, according to their own capabilities. So, no attachment. Even my own family members, they might not support my choices all the time. It's okay. I'm not attached. Maybe they're right and I'm wrong. I'll find out. I'm still entitled to make my own choices. I won't do what someone else wants me to do out of attachment because I won't respect that person then. Freedom. I give everyone close to me the freedom to do what they want as they think best whenever they want. I give blanket freedom to everyone. And by doing so, I'm completely free. I'm free to call people as much as I want. and they're free to not call me as much as they want. Complete freedom. And in this place of freedom, I can be creative and joyful. I have a lot of space to develop new ideas, maybe new friends in this place of freedom. But if I have a lot of attachment, they're bondages, which I will think about a lot. They will constantly be coming to me in the forms of feelings whenever I feel threatened or insecure. They'll require a lot of maintenance, these attachments. And so I won't have very much energy left to enjoy life. Let me be free. Let me be very careful about my relationships, having good relationships, but avoid attachment. And if someone seems to be attached to me, I can very delicately have a lot of love and a lot of regard, but not accept the attachment. I am free. I won't try to attach anyone else, and I won't agree to anyone else's attachment of me. I still love everyone. I still appreciate everyone, but no bondage, because all souls love freedom. It's difficult to maintain freedom in this world where we're encouraged to have attachments for mutual benefit. But we can have the mutual benefit without the attachment. And so if I feel like the attachment is too much, I go to the place of absolute freedom, the home of the soul, the place of light, a place with absolutely no attachments, little tiny beings of light sitting blissfully in the same place. Nothing to be attached to. The Supreme Soul is present, ever present there, constantly radiating pure spiritual energy. Anyone can receive that energy, so there's no need for attachment. It will never end. God's love and light and power, it's always there. The home of the soul is always there, eternally. And I, the soul, am eternally welcome in my home. It's the place of complete freedom. I can come and go as I want. Nobody asks any questions, puts any demands or expectations on me. I become filled with peace. The soul gets refreshed. The battery of the soul gets recharged. A very sweet space. And freedom makes me feel light and powerful and full of potential. Stay close to the Supreme Soul. the one who is eternally free and therefore eternally generous and eternally kind. Be in that space of ultimate freedom, just pure being. Just pure awareness. I am. Awareness of the one who is eternally free, and also aware of the great value of freedom, how good the soul feels in freedom. And then bring that sense of freedom into your life. Whatever I do, I'm doing it as a free soul, not because I have any bondage. Whoever I'm with, we are together as free souls, no bondage. Freedom makes me light. And whatever I think about, I want to make sure that my thought is not being influenced by any kind of bondage, of attachment. For this, we have to be very careful about removing attachment and replacing it with freedom. Om Shanti. Your blessing for today. A nice rose. You are a sweet soul who understands that love can see beyond misunderstandings.
Wow.
You are a sweet soul who can understand that love can see beyond misunderstandings.
That's
So,
beautiful. I would like to have the recording, please.
sure, happy to give you the recording. And also,